Have you ever felt like you are playing an endless role? You smile when you want to cry. You stay silent when you want to scream. You are kind when inside you is a hurricane of resentment. Arthur Fleck is exactly like that. He is a good guy in the most painful way possible. He takes care of his sick mother, endures the humiliation of his colleagues, and swallows the beatings of society. He wears the mask of a clown to hide a bleeding soul. But there is a grim rule in psychology. What is repressed for too long does not disappear. It transforms into a demon. In Arthur Fleck, that entity has a name: Joker. Today, we won't just watch a movie. We will dissect the battle between Arthur and Joker to understand the shadow lurking inside each of us. Why can repressed anger turn a good person into a destroyer? Arthur Fleck represents what Carl Jung called a weakened ego. Arthur tries to fit in. He tries to live up to his mother's expectation. Always be happy. But happiness for Arthur is a torture. Every time he is bullied, a part of his anger is pushed down into the basement of his mind. Jung calls this basement the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It contains instincts, strength, and self-defense. But because Arthur was taught to be obedient, he completely rejected his shadow. He doesn't know how to process anger in a healthy way. When you don't allow yourself to get angry, you also lose the ability to protect yourself. Arthur becomes a perpetual victim, a vessel holding pain until there is no more room left. Neuroscientifically speaking, the transition from Arthur to Joker is a process of controlled disintegration. Our prefrontal cortex is responsible for regulating emotions. It acts like a warden keeping primal impulses from erupting. In Arthur, this warden is exhausted from being overworked in an environment full of trauma. When Arthur stops taking his medication, when he loses his job and discovers the truth about his origins, the warden completely collapses. At this point, the limbic system, which houses primal emotions like fear and anger, takes control. Joker is not a new personality. Joker is the complete release of emotions that have been repressed for so long. Joker's laugh isn't joy. It is a spastic reflex of an overloaded nervous system. Why did Arthur's shadow become so cruel? The answer lies with Penny Fleck, his mother. She named him Happy. She forced him to bring laughter to the world, while she herself couldn't protect him from abuse. This is a terrifying form of psychological toxicity, emotional invalidation. When a child is in pain but forced to smile, they learn that their true feelings are wrong. They begin to hate themselves. Joker is the revenge of that abandoned child. Joker killing Penny Fleck is not just a criminal act. Symbolically, it is Arthur's way of destroying the fake mask of happiness she forced upon him. When he no longer has to be the good child, Arthur has nothing left to lose. There is a strange moment in the film. When Arthur becomes Joker, he looks healthier. His movements are more fluid. He no longer trembles or slouches. Why? Because he has integrated his shadow. But instead of integrating it to become stronger, he lets the shadow completely devour his ego. Arthur chooses madness because reality is too painful. Joker is an extreme defense mechanism. If the world is a cruel joke, then the only way to win is to become the joke teller. Joker's freedom is the freedom of nihilism. Nothing matters. When you no longer care about morality, the law, or life itself, you become invincible. But it is an empty victory because Arthur had to pay the price with his own soul. We all have an Arthur Fleck and a Joker inside us. So how do we keep the scales from tipping? Acknowledge your anger. Don't try to be a fake good person. If you see injustice, allow yourself to be angry. Anger is a signal that your boundaries are being violated. Release pressure periodically. Don't wait until the basement explodes. Find ways to express the shadow through art, sports, or straightforward conversations. face the truth. Arthur went mad because he lived in lies. Have the courage to look at your past wounds. Heal them instead of using makeup to cover them up. Remember, the shadow only becomes dangerous when it is starved in the dark. If you bring it into the light, it becomes strength. Arthur Fleck is a warning to us all, a society lacking compassion and an individual lacking self-awareness of their own shadow will create monsters. Don't be afraid of the Joker inside you. Learn to dance with it, control it, and use its energy to build rather than destroy. Don't let your mask become your prison. Be yourself, with all your dark corners and your light. Thank you for listening to the story of Arthur and Joker. Leave a comment about how you face your own anger. And don't forget, be kind to one another, because you never know who is battling the demon inside them. See you on our next psychological journey.